It just keeps getting better for the Montreal Canadiens as we have official news that Oliver Kapanen is coming to the Montreal Canadiens effective immediately, and this has huge implications for the lineup, not just for this season, but implications on the playoffs as well. We'll be talking about where he's going to fit and why it's better, somehow even better than we even thought at first. But we also have to talk about our boy Ivan Demidov as he scores again. Despite the SKA loss, he scores this goal, banking it off the defenseman. He generates a ton of chances, including getting robbed here. He had his overtime game winner, potentially his, called back. It was a big, eventful game, and we also have a very positive update on Jacob Fowler. All of that coming up on this episode of Habs Digest, and we're going to jump straight into it, Jesse, and I want to start with Jacob Fowler because, look, there was a lot of uncertainty. We talked about it yesterday in our post-game stream about what Jacob Fowler was going to do next year. There was some smoke out there that he was going to return to Boston College for his junior season, but Pierre Lebrun kind of, well, he calmed us down a little bit. He said today, this is on Twitter, no reason for Habs fans to be stressing about not having a Jacob Fowler decision. I think it's unlikely he stays in school for another year. Likeliest option is to join the AHL Laval Rocket for the rest of the season, but with Laval out west right now, there is no urgency, and that's a very interesting point, and I think he's very right. And also, because of the Kapanen thing that we'll talk about later, Jesse, now that our roster is full and we don't have the room to bring in Fowler without sending someone like Waugh down, this actually makes a lot of sense to me, and honestly, it's just I'm very happy to hear this update after the uncertainty from yesterday.
This is what I'm talking about here, and this is a guy that wants to compete, and he's ready for the show, and, we're kind of bracing ourselves. It's like, okay, there's not, either option isn't the worst in the world, but I was in my opinion, this guy, you want to get over to anything that gets you closer to the NHL, whether that's through the AHL, this is a guy, confidence is not missing. You got to feel clear, Jacob Fowler, sure, I'm going to go to Laval, I'm going to start making noise, I'm going to start making waves there, and they're going to start hearing about me in Montreal really quick, and before you know it, who knows what happens, right? We've seen what competition, really happens in the net there. So this guy really wants to compete again. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, the fact that goalies kind of mature a little bit later, but forget that noise. We want this guy in Montreal now. We're starting to enter that competition. Just having him a little bit closer in Laval, having him closer to the fold there, for me, is just moving this whole process just that much further.
Yeah, absolutely, right? And there's so many wrinkles to this too. And like a lot of people are saying, even Cam Robinson, who was the one yesterday that said there's smoke about Fowler going back to BC, said today, look, it's like a dance, right? Fowler probably wants that ELC burned off. That's probably the case. But now with Montreal knowing that they were going to bring in Oliver Kapanen, that caps their roster size. Again, they could send Waugh down and bring in Fowler, but there's question marks around that. There's a lot of moving parts to this with Laval being out west, with Montreal's roster size going up and down. There's a lot of things to work out, but all things considered now, we just got to take our time and be patient for what looks to be potentially the goalie of the future. So leave some thoughts down below. I know a lot of you are very happy to hear this update today. But another update today that maybe some people are happy about, maybe some are unhappy about, is the result from SK St. Petersburg. Now, the thing is, they're now on the brink of elimination. Now, this was in double OT, and there was a point where it looked like Demidov may have scored the OT winner. It was called a goal on the ice, I believe. It ended up getting called back. It was a bit of a weird situation. Look, they were down 4-2 in the third period. Roman Rottenberg pulled the goalie down 1 on a power play with 7 minutes left. Anyway, crazy. They got an empty net goal scored against them, came back late in regulation. But the big news today is Demidov again, Jesse, scoring a goal here, banking it in off the defenseman, maybe a centering pass. A goal is a goal, but he was creating opportunities all over the ice. By all accounts, he was one of the best players out there, one of the fastest players out there. Ended up in double OT, playing around 27 total minutes in this game. Again, his season's almost over, and if SK does get eliminated, the reports are that he'll probably go to the MHL. How are you feeling about Demidov? I'm just, part of me wants to say I'm happy that his season's almost done, but I also want to keep seeing him play hockey,
For sure. Get him out of there, though. But I am loving Josh right now, the glimpses that, because we're seeing right now with him playing what we're going to get in Montreal. And he's going to take it to a whole nother level once he really gets here. So we love to see how he can really contribute here, and again, he's a force of hockey nature that the bench just cannot kind of withhold. He's getting on the ice, and of course, results are happening. It's what's happened the whole season. It's not, not the first time where he's having questions of ice time, but where he kind of, finds his way on the ice, the force of nature he is, and obviously having those results. And, calling him a difference maker in Montreal next year, that's what he'll be, is truly an understatement. We see like with earlier on in this clip, what's so interesting is he's able to get even earlier to this. He's able to kind of first find the soft spot on the ice to receive the puck. Then once he gets it, he is basically not on this play here, but he is relentless in terms of just attacking the net afterwards. Then he kind of following the play, following his rebound, and he's just Gretzkying it off of the defender here, absolutely just showing that IQ, and again the finish to go together. So again, loving that combination of finding those soft spots and then showing a lot of attack on the finish there. So absolutely an amazing play from him.
He's been unbelievable again. Like, yeah, like the 2 goals he are a little cheeky, but at the same time, like you said, Jesse, his ability to find space and create space for himself, not only with the puck, but without the puck. Like, we're seeing a lot of people say those are some of the best skills you can translate to the NHL. So it's not just the goals, the highlights that we show you here. It's everything in between that indicate he'll be making a dent in this roster very, very soon, especially with some question marks on the wings heading into next season. But I think that transitions us very well into our main topic of today, and we are so pumped. Our boy Oliver Kapanen, he is scheduled to rejoin the Canadiens later today, and as of this point, it'll be today. Maybe it's happened already. Don't know if he's with the team right now, but of course we know his season is over in Timrå after an incredible year, being 4th in the entire SHL in points per game as a 21-year-old. He doesn't turn 22 until this offseason. 35 points in 36 games, 2 goals, 3 points in 6 playoff games. He has been so good this year, straight up one of the best players in the SHL, and he is ready to join this team right now. Jesse, I know we'll talk about one insider's take on where he'll play right now, and I think it aligns with us, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Right now, just having him bolster this lineup, first of all, makes me think Joshua was getting sent down. It seems like there's no trust for him right now, and I don't mind him developing a bit more in Laval at this point, but having Kapanen, whether he plays on that second line with Newhook and Laine, or maybe they keep Heineman in there and you put Kapanen on the wing somewhere in the bottom 6, regardless, I'm excited to see what kind of impact he'll have on the team right away.
And a little bit of an aggressive play, because personally speaking, like this is what I kind of would prefer over the AHL option. But, you know, interesting that they actually value Kapanen so much to kind of bring him here. Obviously, the AHL, that is still kind of a possibility there. It's saying a lot about this player. And we, you know, as media and a fan base, we feel the same way. Like, it's actually incredible that we love having him kind of join us right now and really feel like he can provide us some more options. And with the amazing season he has, there's a world where he's really helping us kind of down the stretch. This guy can really help the team. Again, as we've mentioned on Habs Digest, the physical play is going to be the litmus test. If he can withstand that, this guy's going to be golden. He's a detail. He's paying attention. He's good offensively, defensively. Just we know that level of kind of more rugged play is really stepped up this time of year. If he can really keep pace with that, he's going to be a big part of this team moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and we saw the flashes, right, in that preseason. Now, again, in his actual 12 games at Montreal, that NHL pace, it did look like it was a bit, it was outpacing him just a little bit, but it takes time to adjust from, at the time, the Finnish Liga to the NHL. Like, it's a pretty big jump, but then he saw what he needed to see, went and played top-line minutes in the SHL. It was amazing there for Olli Jokinen's team, and I'm actually very much in agreement with Anthony Malcutt here in this take where he says, when he's able to play, I wouldn't be afraid to put Kapanen with Newhook and Laine, because then you give Newhook another right-handed guy who can take draws. And remember, Kapanen, there were some nights he led our team in faceoff percentage. Even in those 12 games, it was lower and lower as it went on. Of course, dropping below 50%, but for a little while, he was over 50%. And look, he can relieve on the strong side of the faceoffs, confident he can help this team immediately, and that's what I'm seeing too, Jesse. Now, I've loved Emil Heineman there with that second line, Newhook and Laine, but in terms of fit, given Newhook, again, another guy, a right-handed guy who can take those draws. Laine's not been bad when he's had to fill in on those draws, but I think Kapanen's a stylistic fit there, or at the very least, you put Kapanen with Evans and Armia, or maybe you even take Armia out of the lineup to rest his wrist, you put Kapanen on the wing and maybe Juan the other wing. The thing is now you have a few options, whereas before, like right now, Marty St. Louis, if he's not trusting Joshua Waugh, doesn't want to play him, you got to play Pezzetta. At the very least, this gives us incredible lineup options. I am a believer that Kapanen will go play with Newhook and Laine early to start out. Or again, even a bottom 6 role is not bad for me. I just, what I do agree with mostly here is I do think he'll help this team immediately as well. Even if we do end up sending him to the AHL, because he is eligible for the playoffs. Like if we fall out of a playoff spot for some reason, he can go down. But I think honestly, I'm confident he'll make an impression right now with the Habs that'll keep him on the team, especially if we do make that playoff run, when we make that playoff run.
For me, it's like if he can provide offense, then he'll find a way onto the second line, but he'll probably need to work himself up there. If he's bringing offense, then I feel he's a good fit. Obviously, people are interested to see Kapanen and Laine, the Finnish connection there together. There could maybe be some magic there. That's the ideal world. That's what you want Kapanen to provide. He's going to need to really be able to prove that, but he's shown from a strong body of work, basically being a point per game player, that that he can do that, in his respective league, previously this year. For me, though, it's like if he can't bring that offense, you want somebody a little bit more physical somehow on that second line, just for the forechecking, for, to kind of support Newhook as a center. He can't do everything with Laine. I think, having somebody even like a Heineman right now to just get on that forecheck, because that's such a big part of our game. On every line, you're going to want a guy that can bring the forecheck. In my opinion, that is going to be really big for the Montreal Canadiens' success. So that's my only worries about having him there on that second line. That being said, if he's bringing the offense, he's going to be perfect and really help this team at what they need the most on that line.
That's a very reasonable take. However, I am unreasonable when it comes to one of my favorite players in Oliver Kapanen on this team. So I'm just, put him on the first line. No, don't do that. But I'm just ready. Like, I'm so ready. I'm so confident. Like, I don't know why I have this thing. Like, he's going to be so amazing right away. Like, you're very right. He needs to bring the offense. That's been the thing that we've been lacking. But I just believe. I don't know what it is. I'm just so excited for Kapanen. He's my boy. I love it so much. Let us know your thoughts down below on the Oliver Kapanen situation, on everything going on right now with Montreal, with Fowler, with Demidov. There's a ton of great news. And we got another big game coming up against last place in the Eastern Conference, Boston, tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. But that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Guys, we just passed 19K. We're on the road to 20, and that's a massive goal. So thank you all so much for supporting us every single day. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.